The Bold and the Beautiful, BNB. Spoilers suggest that Ivy Forrester's Ashley Brewer matchmaking may backfire if she isn't careful. Ivy turned against Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, and felt he wasn't the right man for Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, and she's been ruining their relationship ever since. After all that happened between Will and Melissa Dillon, Sydney Bullock, at the beach home, Ivy was furious about how inappropriate it all was and concluded Will wasn't good enough for Electra. RJ Forrester, Brian Nicoletti, wants to make Electra his girlfriend instead. Therefore, Ivy has thrown her support behind him as Electra's new love interest. However, we must examine the likelihood that Ivy is making a tremendous error by assuming RJ will be any better than Will. Will and RJ will have a furious argument between March 16th and 20th. That fight will result in several insults, including one from RJ, who claims Will is a lowlife like his father. RJ clearly believes Will is similar to Bill Spencer, Don Diamont, but what if RJ is more like his own father, Ridge Forrester, Torsten K? BNB has definitely had previous versions of RJ on film, but this one feels like a new character. Brian Nicoletti's debut resulted in a massive RJ reset, thus no one knows what flaws or blunders RJ may make. The show highlighted all of the ladies RJ encountered on his travels, indicating that he is accustomed to having a variety of alternatives. RJ may be completely focused on Electra right now, but that won't last long. After all, RJ felt a spark when he first met Dillon. There must be a cause for this, so we must consider the chance that RJ will develop feelings for Dillon and kiss her as well. RJ, on the other hand, may ultimately give in to one of the female Forrester employees, given how many ladies have thrown themselves at him. There are numerous avenues to betrayal if that is the direction the show wishes to follow. RJ may eventually turn out to be like waffling Daddy Ridge. Ridge is a known flip-flopper who has repeatedly harmed Brooke Logan Forrester, Catherine Kelly Lang, and, in particular, Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig. Could Electra become RJ's Taylor and be sad if he betrays or rejects her? Electra may legitimately fall for RJ, but Ivy may come to regret bringing them together if RJ betrays her later on. According to the Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, RJ, Electra, Will, and Dillon will experience some love quadrangle turmoil in the near future, so stay tuned for more updates. The drama unfolding on the Bold and the Beautiful surrounding RJ Forrester and Electra Forrester captures the essence of what has kept the show captivating for decades: tangled family ties, impulsive attractions, and the ever-present shadow of past romantic patterns repeating themselves in future generations. RJ, the son of Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan, has always carried the weight of his family history, growing up in the shadow of a father known for his famous uncertainty in love. Ridge's history is a long series of back-and-forth decisions between Brooke and Taylor Hayes, in which devotion frequently gives way to temptation, leaving lovers heartbroken and relationships destroyed. The question now is whether RJ will inherit Electra's tendency to vacillate, to pursue one passion only to pivot when another spark develops, thus dooming her to yet another round of emotional misery. Electra, the young Forrester who returned to Los Angeles with her own convoluted past, has already had her fair share of difficulties. Her relationship with Will Spencer, Bill Spencer's son, appeared promising at first, a new romance based on mutual affection amidst the turbulence of the Forrester and Spencer families. However, fissures appeared fast, exacerbated by outside intervention, misunderstandings, and perhaps the unavoidable tug of family loyalties. Ivy Forrester, ever the meddler in these matters, has deliberately sought to undermine Will and Electra's relationship, sure that Will is not the appropriate fit. In her efforts to keep Electra away from him, Ivy has fostered a bond between Electra and RJ, considering the young Forrester designer as a more suitable companion within the family. This deception has set the stage for something considerably more explosive than anyone expected. RJ and Electra shared an unexpected kiss, which marked a turning point. What began as consolation in a moment of vulnerability, Electra reeling from uncertainties about her future with Will, evolved when RJ stepped in, seizing on her emotional turmoil. Electra pushed away almost quickly, establishing a solid barrier and emphasizing that her pain was not an invitation to romance. However, the harm was done. Will walked in at the worst possible time, seeing the betrayal firsthand. The horror on his face reflected the misery that would soon spread across their already weak relationship. Will on one side, hurt and angry, RJ on the other, hooked on the connection he felt in that kiss, and Elektra caught in the midst, attempting to navigate her emotions without losing herself totally. RJ's actions in the aftermath hints at the very characteristics that have marked his father for years. Ridge has always been presented as a guy of emotion, ready to express eternal love but equally quick to doubt it when a new or familiar face enters his orbit. RJ, too, has demonstrated symptoms of unrest. Even while he pursues Elektra with zeal, flirting openly, obsessing over their shared moment, and protecting her against Will with stinging insults, he has shown signs of interest elsewhere. When he first saw Dylan, or Melissa Dillon in some cases, there was an evident spark, a fleeting but noticeable chemistry that signaled his attention would not be focused for long. If history is any indicator, RJ could quickly find himself split between Elektra and someone new, repeating Ridge's habit of waffling between commitments. Calling Will a lowlife just like your dad during a heated argument simply highlights RJ's defensiveness, as if he is projecting his own anxieties onto his opponent while posing himself as the noble alternative. Meanwhile, Elektra faces a future that feels hauntingly similar to the heartbreaks experienced by women in the Forrester orbit. She has already established boundaries with RJ, rejecting his approaches following the kiss, and refusing to allow vulnerability to develop into something more. But the draw is strong, the chemistry is evident, and the family connection adds layers of complexity. As cousins, albeit not by blood, given Ridge's complex paternity with Massimo Marone, their attraction has the taboo allure that the bold and the beautiful has previously explored, most notably with Thomas and other relatives. Ivy's encouragement further complicates matters. By pushing RJ toward Elektra, she may unintentionally create a scenario in which Elektra commits emotionally only to be disappointed when RJ's allegiance alter. If RJ proves to be a waffler like his father, Elektra may find herself in the Taylor role, deeply in love but frequently ignored when Brooke-like characters, or, in this case, Dylan or another newcomer, catch RJ's roving eye. The escalating disputes around this triangle foreshadow additional explosions. RJ and Will's feud has already escalated to taunts and violent threats, with Ridge most likely stepping in to defend his son and restore order at Forrester Creations. These disagreements emphasize generational parallels. Just as Ridge and Bill have feuded over women for decades, their sons are now fighting about Elektra. Will, refusing to be bullied, maintains his love for her despite the pain of betrayal. Elektra, retaliating against perceived slights from others such as Dylan, demonstrates her growing dissatisfaction with the web of drama that surrounds her. However, underlying the rage is hurt that could worsen if RJ's desire proves transitory. What makes this storyline so interesting is how it reflects the show's major concepts. Love on the bold and the beautiful is rarely simple. It's chaotic, passionate, and frequently self-destructive. RJ's potential to replicate Ridge is about more than just repeating love blunders. It's about whether the younger generation can break out from hereditary patterns, or if destiny in soap operas requires repetition. Elektra, who has already been traumatized by recent events, deserves stability, but it has never been a feature of Forrester romances. If RJ wavers, pursuing the next pleasure or yielding to family demands, Elektra's heartache may become unavoidable, adding to a long list of women who have come to question their worth after falling in love with a Forrester man. The tension increases week after week. RJ is fixated on the kiss, certain it symbolizes something important, and is attempting to persuade Elektra that he is the more loyal choice over Will. Ivy continues her subtle tactics, possibly regretting her role if things worsen. Will struggles with envy and treachery, and may even consider severe measures such as joining Spencer Publications to escape the Forrester circle. Elektra, strong-willed and desperate to guard her heart, must decide whether to risk another romance within the family or to flee the upheaval entirely. In the end, the question isn't whether RJ will waffle like his father, but whether any of them can break the cycle. Ridge's legacy of hesitation has influenced generations of decisions ranging from business to bedroom. RJ, with his charm, talent, and the Forrester name, is at a crossroads. Choosing constancy could change his destiny, providing Elektra with the security she seeks. But if temptation triumphs, as it so often does for Ridge, Elektra may face more tears, doubts, and nights wondering why love in this world always comes at a cost. The drama continues, one heated glance, one impetuous moment, one devastating decision at a time, reminding fans why the bold and the beautiful is still a masterwork in serialized heartache and optimism. Few daytime series have explored difficult family dynamics and love uncertainty as thoroughly as The Bold and the Beautiful. For decades, the series' plot has revolved around love triangles, split loyalties, and characters who must choose between passion and stability. Ridge Forrester, a guy whose romantic life was frequently defined by oscillations between powerful loves, is one of the most well-known examples of emotional hesitation. As a new generation emerges, viewers wonder if his son, RJ Forrester, will follow in his footsteps. The potential creates a serious dilemma for supporters who have grown fond of RJ's mild personality. Will he become another waffler in the old Forrester tradition? And if so, what does that entail for the woman he cares about? Soap operas thrive on intergenerational echoes. Children frequently imitate their parents' patterns, sometimes deliberately, sometimes unknowingly. In the case of RJ, a comparison to Ridge is nearly inevitable. Ridge has long been depicted as a man divided between strong emotional attachments. His history of shifting loyalties and tangled romantic entanglements has caused decades of turmoil in the Forrester household. Because RJ grew up watching those relationships play out, the question is whether he has learnt from his father's mistakes or if those patterns will continue to repeat themselves. RJ returned to Los Angeles with a sense of purpose and a determination to establish his own position in the family fashion enterprise. Unlike some of his relatives, who have thrived on rivalry, RJ appeared to be grounded and thoughtful. He appeared more concerned with artistry, originality, and emotional honesty than with manipulation or competition. That made him appealing to people who hoped he would symbolize a more steady chapter in the Forrester saga. However, soap opera storytelling rarely allows for permanent stability. Enter Elektra, a woman whose relationship with RJ has inspired both excitement and alarm among followers. Elektra's presence in his life appeared hopeful at first. She exuded warmth and understanding, and their conversations suggested a romance based on mutual respect rather than impulsive attraction. However, anyone familiar with the show's history understands that promising couples frequently endure significant challenges. The real question is whether RJ will stay loyal when such challenges eventually arise. Part of the concern arises from Ridge's example. Ridge has often been portrayed as fiercely passionate, but emotionally conflicted. He has loved passionately, but he has also suffered with commitment when numerous relationships vied for his attention. Many of the ladies who loved him have suffered emotional consequences as a result of his actions. Because RJ shares not only his father's name, but also his heritage within the family, there is concern that he will unconsciously replicate those actions. Soap operas excel at delving into the concept of inherited emotional patterns. Characters grow raised in difficult relationships, and their experiences impact how they approach love. RJ observed numerous tumultuous events in his family, from betrayal to forgiveness. Even if he intentionally strives to be different, the behaviors he observes may influence his reactions when his own relationships are tested. Meanwhile, Elektra could become an accidental victim of the conflict. If RJ is divided between devotion and temptation, the emotional fallout could be disastrous for her. Viewers who sympathize with Elektra are concerned that she may be entering a predicament similar to the grief suffered by women in Ridge's life. The prospect creates an undercurrent of tension whenever RJ's romantic future is discussed. Another component exacerbating the situation is the setting in which these characters reside. The world of fashion, power, and familial conflict surrounding the Forrester dynasty is rarely peaceful. Ambition, jealousy, and secrets are commonly linked to personal relationships. In such a high-pressure environment, Even strong couples might be driven to the brink. RJ's ability to maintain clarity and dedication will most likely be tested repeatedly. For RJ, the challenge is more than just choose between two people. It's also about establishing the type of man he wants to be. Will he learn from his mistakes and strive for emotional constancy, or will he fall back into the same patterns of hesitancy and regret? This internal tension could develop into one of the most interesting narratives for the next generation of people. Elektra's role in this potential drama is as significant. If she really cares for RJ, she might believe in the best version of him. Her faith might motivate him to be strong even when doubts arose. However, faith alone cannot ensure a happy conclusion in a society where unforeseen rivalries, family pressures, and hidden truths frequently ruin relationships. One of the reasons why supporters are so interested in RJ's future is because he represents hope for change. Many longtime observers have witnessed Ridge's love hesitation over the course of years, if not decades. Seeing a younger Forrester approach love differently would feel like a significant shift for the program. It would imply that the subsequent generation has learned from the mistakes of the past. However, soap operas rely on tension to keep viewers interested. A completely steady romance rarely propels dramatic writing for long. If RJ is absolutely steadfast, authors may need to add external threats in the relationship. However, if he begins to show signs of uncertainty, the emotional stakes rapidly increase. The likelihood of RJ wavering does not imply that he will become identical to Ridge. Characters frequently inherit features, but exhibit them in distinct ways. RJ may struggle with doubt, but he ultimately chooses honesty over secrecy. He may be tempted, but he should talk clearly rather than allow misconceptions to develop. These distinctions could characterize him as a more mature version of the romantic paradigm that his father personifies. Even a moment of uncertainty might cause Elektra great pain. In the emotionally charged world of daytime drama, trust is tenuous. A single misunderstanding might cause rippling effects across numerous tales. Elektra may wonder if she really knows the man she cares about. Another intriguing component of this story is how other members of the Forrester family may react. Families in this series are rarely neutral observers. Opinions are openly expressed, alliances alter quickly, and personal histories permeate every debate. If RJ begins to exhibit indications of doubt, family members may intervene with advice, warnings, or even manipulation. Such influence could further confuse RJ. When numerous voices present opposing viewpoints, even the most confident individual can struggle to determine what is correct. Elektra may encourage him to believe his heart, whereas others may remind him of family obligations or prospective prospects elsewhere. The creators of long-running dramas frequently use these times to explore themes of identity and independence. RJ may eventually learn that his decisions must be guided by his own principles rather than his family's legacy. That understanding could be a pivotal event in his character development. For Elektra, the circumstance might be similarly transformative. Uncertainty in a relationship might cause characters to rethink their priorities. If RJ begins to imitate Ridge's renowned hesitation, Elektra may have to make a difficult decision, fight for the relationship, or pull away to safeguard her own mental well-being. Either path could result in powerful storytelling. If she chooses to support RJ, the story becomes one of patience, faith, and tenacity. If she believes she deserves something more certain, the story turns about self-esteem and personal development. Both directions have the ability to elicit powerful reactions from spectators. The interplay between RJ and Elektra also emphasizes a bigger subject in the show, the conflict between destiny and choice. Some admirers feel that the Forrester men are destined to go through cycles of tangled love. Others believe each character has the power to break those cycles. RJ's decisions will finally demonstrate which worldview is correct. It's also possible that the comparison to Ridge will motivate RJ. Being continuously judged against a parent might be stressful, but it can also drive determination. RJ may actively seek to demonstrate that he is capable of developing a healthier relationship than those he observed growing up. If this happens, Elektra could play a critical part in his success. Their relationship may develop into a partnership built on mutual understanding and communication. Instead of repeating history, they may show how love can grow stronger with honesty and self-awareness. However, soap operas rarely follow a straight course. Unexpected personalities may arise, secrets may emerge, or old flames may resurface. RJ's determination and Elektra's patience were put to the test with each new issue. The mystery is whether these trials enhance their friendship or expose fissures beneath the surface. Viewers who have been watching the show for years know that the Forestas rarely escape emotional upheaval for long. Relationships change, alliances break, and past mistakes frequently reemerge at the most awkward times. In such a setting, even the most promising romance must fight for survival. The debate about RJ's future demonstrates how interested fans are in the next generation of characters. Fans adore examining the parallels between parents and children, anticipating whether history will repeat itself or grow into something new. RJ is at the heart of the discourse because his personality appears both familiar and delightfully unusual. Meanwhile, Elektra reflects the emotional stakes of the question. Her happiness may be contingent on RJ's ability to avoid the patterns that defined his father's romantic life. If he succeeds, their partnership might represent development and rejuvenation for the Forrester heritage. If he fails, she could become another victim of the misery that has plagued this family for years. In the end, the mystery surrounding RJ and Elektra is exactly what keeps viewers interested. The realm of daytime drama feeds on unsolved issues and emotional conflict. It remains to be seen if RJ will be a committed companion or a reluctant echo of Ridge's uncertainty. What is known is that their journey will continue to delve into themes that have defined the series for decades: love, loyalty, temptation, and the battle to learn from history. As the tale progresses, viewers will be watching intently to see if RJ takes a new path or continues down the same convoluted path that made his father such a famous figure in the history of the bold and the beautiful.